old fence posts, they all got bevels on them, because they knew the water would run off. So they would bevel the sill at least 15 degrees and wrap it with that felt paper. If water got in there, it would run out. No problem, no damage to the home. We cut our sills flat. If water hits this sill, which direction is it going to go? I don't know, in or out. Either way, it's got a 50-50 chance, right? So here's the thing that we do. We overframe our windows just a little bit. And I cut, this is just a piece of beveled one body. We cut it at a bevel. It doesn't have that 15-degree angle that I like to see, but I can't put the 15-degree in here. All I can afford here is a 1/4 inch, because I've overframed it about a 1/4 inch. So I'll put this down on my sill, and what that does is it gives my water some direction. It tells the water, okay, which direction am I supposed to go if I get underneath. All of this is a series of steps and processes that are going to make sure that whatever I do to this window, I'm not going to get leaks on the interior. I want to get that water to the outside. So this is an option that I can put on here. I can take that sill, and the other thing that's really cool about it is that when I do that, I'll take my offcuts from that sill, and now I've got perfect shims. So when I go to shim this window, it's just a matter of positioning the shim in the exact spot to level that window out. It saves me a lot of time. But I'm looking really for this sill. That's the first thing I'm looking for. So now that I have that sill with a pitch on it, what I want to do is take and put a pan system down at the bottom. There's a couple of ways to do this. The first thing I'm going to do is take the zip tape. Now, if you were doing a standard window, plain old regular window, with weather-resistant barrier, this process would be identical. The first thing that we'll do is I need to seal these corners. Now with a flat type of a tape, this is a non-stretch type tape, I need to make sure that this corner is never going to leak. So what I need to do is build what we call a couple of bow ties, and the easiest way to do that, take a piece and fold it in half. What I'm looking for is about a 1/2 inch to that seam. And I make a bow tie. Then what we'll do, let me just show you another trick too. This is really cool. Did you ever try to peel this paper off the back of this stuff? Why are you laughing? Is it a pain in the neck or what? I found out the coolest thing at one of my shows. This is the real neat thing about it. Watch this. This is just a regular piece of flashing tape. This is the zip tape. This is a trick. I only learned this a couple of weeks ago at one of my shows. Take it from paper to paper side, fold it over in half like this, and then just squeeze it and pull it to yourself. And what it'll do is it'll separate those two surfaces, just like that. Now if you're over 40 like me and your eyes aren't that really good, you can sit there and play with this for a 1/2 hour trying to separate these two pieces. But all you do is just fold it paper to paper, flick it back, and it separates right away. That's worth coming for the whole day. That's the way I felt. That was worth it just to me to learn that trick. I'll tell you, that was the greatest thing. But that's a quick, easy way to do it. So paper to paper, just flick it back, and the release will come right off. It takes a split second. Why don't you guys have that in your instruction manual somewhere? That saves me like about an hour a day just learning how to do that. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this flashing tape, we're going to put it right into the corner, nice and tight. You get up in behind here, no matter the way of the camera. Tom can shoot in on that. What I'm going to do is put this in nice and tight to this corner, and then stretch this over, just like that. I'm going to try to get all these wrinkles out as best I can. And all I'm doing now with that bow tie is sealing just this corner piece. So that's my first step there. The second step is we'll get the other side, we'll make one for the other side there. Another bow tie, so you fold it in half, just like that. Cut a little V in here. No more than an inch of separation in here, because if you do more than an inch, what will end up happening is it'll bunch up on you, and you won't be able to make that nice flat seam. Because I want to make sure that the water doesn't collect there. If you ever take an old window out and you see that the sill is rotted, where is it most typically rotted? Right in that corner. So this is the most vulnerable spot. So whether you're doing a standard weather-resistant barrier or you're going to do the zip system, you can start at the bottom if you want. There's another way to do it, and you just fold it in, bring it into that corner, and get it nice and tight. And so I've got this corner sealed, so that my next piece, which is going to be my sill, We want it to overextend on either side, probably by 4 to 6 inches. Now, if you've never worked with these flashing tapes before, the adhesive on them, these are pressure-sensitive adhesives. They're extremely aggressive adhesives. And one of the complaints that a lot of contractors had is trying to handle these long spans of a pressure-sensitive adhesive when you've taken all of the backing off. And so what Zip is working on now, which is kind of neat, and there's going to be a different occasion for it, is a split-release system. So you can work with half at a time. So you can look for that coming down the pike pretty soon. If you don't have a split-release system, you can always very gently score the paper with a utility knife and create your own split-release system. But those are handy things to have, so you can be watching for that coming down soon. In the corner, we want to make sure it gets in here nice and tight. If we don't push it into the corner tight, when your installer goes to install the window, what will happen is he'll tear that corner with the corner of the window. So that nice tight 90 degree in here, take your speed square, shove it in there, make sure it gets in really good, and then just cut straight out from the back here, and you'll see that that corner gets perfectly sealed with our flashing tape. And that's what we're looking for. If you see any of the wall sheeting underneath here, well, you want to make sure that you've got it covered, because that's a potential leak right there. So that's what we're looking for. That's how you detail out your sill. These are pressure-sensitive adhesives, which means you have to apply pressure to them to get them to work. You can't just stick them on here, because if I do, when the sun comes out, what will eventually happen is they'll start to peel off. So take a roller and make sure that you roll this out so we get the proper amount of pressure on that tape. And that's how you would prepare the sill system for the very basics of a window installation. Now, coming down the road, you're going to see the requirement, probably in future code, of sill pans. Now, this is an example of a sill pan that's been provided for us by Dow. This is a sill pan you can actually cut and fit. And what it gives us is a mechanical break for the water. With the lip on the back here, you say, well, why do I need this little lip? I've got that little pitch, right? The water should go out. But imagine a high wind event. When wind is driving up against the building, if water should get into this sill, it can actually be carried with the air pressure and brought to the interior. This lip on the back of this sill will allow us to stop the watershed right here. And so sill pans are a good idea. This is a very simple one that Dow has shown to us to be able to use. So you've got that. So this is the basics for getting started. That's number one. Now the second thing I'm going to do before I even get rolling, I've got all my sill pans are all set, ready to install my windows. Now, any framers here that just frame? When you guys build houses, who sets the windows in your houses? The framer does? Do you do the weather-resistant barrier also? All right, so you're the exception. Depends on what part of the country I'm in. The Northeast has got this crazy routine of the framers install all the windows, and the weather-resistant barrier gets installed later. And so what ends up happening is these details always get missed. And the biggest complaints that we get are leaky windows, typically around the sill area, because the framers didn't bother putting all of the sill pan accessories around. The contractor's expecting the siding guy to do that. So make sure that you get your sequence right. If your framer's installing the windows, make sure these sill pans get installed correctly. Now with the Zip system, we're just about ready to install our window here. It's a couple of things that we need to just watch out for when we're going to install a window. This is the Weatherlock window bay atrium. This is a custom window that was supplied for us. Now Shelley's is the exclusive distributor of the Weatherlocks.